Pack your things. You're done here.
Now.
The words hit me like a physical blow. CEO Bradford Sinclair stood in my lab doorway, arms crossed, that familiar sneer twisting his face. Behind him, security waited. What? My voice came out strangled. Bradford, I just presented the quantum processor prototype yesterday. We're weeks from production. We don't need you anymore. Your contributions have been noted. But we're taking the project in a different direction. His cologne, that expensive sandalwood scent, suddenly smelled sickening mixed with the chemical tang of my lab. Security will escort you out. You have 15 minutes. 15 minutes. After 7 years of 80-hour weeks. After sacrificing my marriage, my health, my entire life to build Helix Technologies' quantum computing division from nothing. This is insane. I'm the lead scientist. The patent applications. Our company property. As per your contract. He checked his watch. 14 minutes. My hands shook as reality crashed down. The prototype I'd spent 3 years perfecting. The breakthrough that would revolutionize computing. He was stealing it all. The walk to my office felt like a death march. Security guard Mitchell, who used to bring me coffee during late nights, wouldn't meet my eyes. Coworkers stared from their cubicles, whispers following like poison. I grabbed my personal items with trembling hands. Photos of my daughter. My MIT diploma. The whiteboard covered in equations. I took a picture before Mitchell cleared his throat. Ma'am, nothing work-related can leave the building. It's my work. My equations. Company property. His voice was apologetic but firm. In the elevator, I caught my reflection in the polished steel. Circles under my eyes from months of 18-hour days. Gray streaks in my hair at 39. I'd given everything to Bradford's vision. And he'd just throw me away like trash. Outside, January wind cut through my lab coat. I'd forgotten my actual code in the rush. My car sat in the lot, the beat-up Honda I'd kept despite Bradford's jokes about executives needing to project success. I collapsed into the driver's seat and cried for 20 minutes. Then my phone buzzed. Bradford had already sent a company-wide email. Dr. Simone Cross has decided to pursue other opportunities. We wish her well.
Decided.
Like I'd had a choice. That night, I sat in my small apartment surrounded by boxes I'd brought home. My daughter Zoe was at her father's. Probably for the best. She didn't need to see me like this. I pulled out every document from my 7 years at Helix. Employment contracts. Patent applications. Project notes. Looking for something, anything that would make sense of Bradford's sudden cruelty. Then I found it. A letter from 3 years ago, before Bradford became CEO. From the previous CEO, Dr. Helena Vance, my mentor who'd recruited me from MIT. Simone, given your unique contributions to the quantum processor development, I've approved your request to file personal patents separate from company IP. Your research predates Helix's involvement. I've attached the legal acknowledgement. My heart stopped. I'd forgotten about this. Helena had helped me protect my foundational research, the theoretical framework I developed during my postdoc before Helix existed. I pulled up the patent office database with shaking hands. Search. Dr. Simone Cross. 3 patents appeared. Filed 4 years ago. Status. Approved. They covered the core quantum processing architecture, the entanglement stabilization method, the error correction algorithm. Everything Bradford thought he owned? Built on my patents. I didn't sleep that night. I read every line of those patents, every clause of my employment contract, every legal document Helena had helped me file. The picture was clear. Bradford didn't own the quantum processor. He owned refinements and applications built on top of my foundational work. But without my patents, his technology was worthless. Legally unusable. And he had no idea. Morning came gray and cold. I called the one person who'd understood. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, my former colleague who'd left Helix 2 years ago after Bradford slashed her budget. Simone? I heard about yesterday. I'm so sorry. Yuki, I need your help. Bradford fired me thinking he owns my quantum processor tech. He doesn't. Not the foundation. I have patents.
From before he was CEO.
He never checked. My voice hardened. And I want to bury him. Silence. Then, I'm listening. How would you like to build the quantum processor the right way? Not Bradford's commercialized garbage. Real innovation. You're talking about starting a company? I'm talking about destroying him. Are you in? A pause. Then a laugh, sharp and delighted. Hell yes. Within a week, I'd assembled a team. Yuki became my co-founder and CTO. Dr. Malcolm Rhodes, another Bradford refugee, joined as our hardware specialist. 3 brilliant postdocs I'd mentored, all bitter about Bradford's corporate culture, signed on immediately. We called the company Apex Quantum Solutions. My lawyer, a sharp woman named Gabriela Torres, reviewed every document. Simone, this is airtight. You own the foundational patents. Bradford's derivative work technically requires licensing from you. What happens when he finds out? He'll try to bury you in litigation. But you'll win. The question is whether you can survive the legal battle long enough. What if we beat him to the market? Gabriella smiled. Then you don't need to fight. You just win. We worked from my apartment initially, 6 people crammed into my living room, whiteboards covering every wall. Zoe thought it was exciting, this adventure as I called it. The truth was terrifying. I'd maxed out credit cards, taken out loans against my house, sold everything valuable I owned. We had maybe 6 months of runway before we'd run out of money. 6 months to build what had taken Helix 7 years. The breakthrough came at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday. Malcolm had been working on miniaturization issues, making the processor small enough for commercial applications. Simone, look at this. He'd found a way to reduce the cooling requirements by 40%. The design was elegant, innovative, and solved the biggest problem plaguing quantum processors: cost and size. This changes everything. Yuki breathed, reviewing the schematics. How fast can we prototype? I asked. With proper funding? 3 months. We didn't have proper funding. But we had something better. Desperation and brilliance. I called every venture capital firm I knew. Most laughed. You're competing with Bradford Sinclair? Good luck. One didn't laugh. Iris Blackwood from Catalyst Ventures listened to my entire pitch, reviewed our patents, and asked one question. Why did Bradford fire you? Because he's arrogant and stupid. She smiled. When can you start? 24 hours later, we had $15 million in series of funding. Catalyst wanted to disrupt the disruptor, as Iris put it. And betting against Bradford Sinclair was apparently appealing to a lot of people he'd screwed over. 3 months into development, Bradford's lawyers came knocking. Cease and desist letter, 30 pages of legal threats. Your employment contract assigned all intellectual property to Helix Technologies. Your current activities constitute theft of trade secrets and breach of contract. Gabriella's response was a single page. Dr. Cross's patents predate her employment and were specifically exempted by former CEO Helena Vance. Helix's quantum processor infringes on Dr. Cross's intellectual property. We await your licensing proposal. The silence that followed was deafening. Then Bradford called me directly. First time I'd heard his voice in 4 months. Simone, let's talk. I don't work for you anymore, Bradford. This is business. You can't seriously think. I own the patents. You built on my foundation without permission. I'm being generous by not suing you into bankruptcy. My voice was ice. But I will accept a licensing deal. $50 million upfront. 20% royalties on every unit sold. He laughed. You're insane. Then don't license. Shut down your quantum division. Explain to your board why you fired the scientist who owned the technology you've invested $200 million developing. I hung up. Word spread fast in the tech world. Bradford Sinclair's former chief scientist starts rival company. Patent battle looms over quantum computing breakthrough. Helix Technologies faces IP crisis. The media loved it. The story had everything: betrayal, corporate arrogance, a woman fighting back against powerful men. My inbox flooded with messages. Former colleagues wanting to join. Investors asking for meetings. Reporters requesting interviews. And I hate mail. I hate mail. Gold-digging bitch trying to steal from the company that made you. You're nothing without Helix. Bradford will crush you. Women like you always play victim when you fail. I read every one. Let the anger fuel me. Meanwhile, our prototype was coming together. Malcolm's cooling solution worked perfectly. Yuki's error correction algorithms were running at 99.7% accuracy, better than Helix's announced specs. We were going to beat them. Not just compete. Destroy them. 6 months after my firing, we were ready. The Apex, one quantum processor. Smaller, faster, and more reliable than anything Helix had demonstrated. We scheduled our product launch for the same week as Bradford's, completely intentional. The tech world chose sides. Half thought we were crazy. Half thought Bradford had made a catastrophic mistake. The night before our launch, I couldn't sleep. I walked around our new office. No longer my cramped apartment, but a real workspace with a lab, conference rooms, and a team of 25. Zoe called. Mom, are you nervous? Terrified. You know what Dad always says. The worst they can say is no. You already survived that. Everything else is winning. My ex-husband wasn't known for wisdom, but sometimes he surprised me. Thanks, sweetheart. Kick ass tomorrow, Mom. I smiled. Language. You taught me that word. Fair point. Launch day. Our event was at 9 a.m. Bradford's was at 2 p.m. We'd planned it perfectly. Be first, set the narrative, make him react to us. I stood backstage, heart pounding. Yuki squeezed my hand. You've got this. I walked out to 200 people, journalists, investors, potential customers. Cameras flashed. Drones hovered, recording. 7 months ago, I was fired from Helix Technologies. I began. My CEO told me I was no longer needed, that my work was company property, that I should walk away quietly. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. But he made a mistake. He assumed he owned me. He didn't. And he assumed he owned the quantum processing technology I'd spent my career developing. He didn't. I pulled up the patent documents on the screen behind me. These are my patents. Filed before Helix. Protected by law. And today, I'm launching technology that will change everything. The Apex. One appeared on screen. The crowd gasped. Smaller than Helix's version. 3 times faster. Half the cost. Available next quarter. The room erupted. By noon, we had $500 million in pre-orders. Fortune 500 companies. Government contracts. Research institutions. By 1 p.m., Bradford stock had dropped 18%. At 2 p.m., Bradford's launch was a disaster. He presented Helix's quantum processor to a room that had already seen something better. Journalists asked pointed questions about patent disputes. Investors looked skeptical. He called me at 3 p.m. I didn't answer. He called again at 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. At 7 p.m., I answered. What do you want, Bradford? We need to negotiate. Now you want to negotiate? Simone, be reasonable. We can both win here. License your patents to us. We'll pay. You'll pay $50 million upfront and 20% royalties. Like I said 6 months ago. That's highway robbery. That's business. You have 48 hours. After that, I'm filing an infringement lawsuit and asking for damages. All $200 million you've invested in quantum development. Silence. Then, you can't be serious. Pack your things, Bradford. You're done. I hung up and smiled. The next morning, Bradford held an emergency board meeting. Sources inside Helix leaked everything. He was facing a no-confidence vote. His quantum division, the crown jewel he'd spent 3 years building, was worthless without my patents. Helix's stock dropped another 12%. Investors were panicking. Customers were calling to cancel orders. The company was hemorrhaging value. Meanwhile, Apex Quantum Solutions was soaring. Series B funding came through. $75 million. Major tech companies were partnering with us. The DoD wanted a meeting about defense applications. My team was working around the clock, scaling production, hiring engineers, and building supply chains. The company I'd started in my living room 6 months ago now had 100 employees. And Bradford was drowning. All right, I need to stop here and ask you something. When Bradford fired me, I had a choice. I could have walked away. I took a job at another company, let him have his stolen glory, and move on with my life. Or I could fight, risk everything, build a competitor from nothing, potentially fail spectacularly, and lose everything. What would you have done? Walked away and found peace elsewhere? Or burned it all down to prove he was wrong? Tell me in the comments. Because this moment defined everything that came after.
Me?
I chose war. Not because I'm vindictive, because I refuse to let a man steal my life's work and pretend he'd built it. And what happened next proved I'd made the right choice. Bradford's 48 hours expired. I filed the lawsuit. $200 million in damages for willful patent infringement, plus an injunction to stop all Helix quantum processor sales. The tech world exploded. Headlines everywhere. Patent war. Former scientist sues CEO for theft. Helix Technologies faces existential threat. The woman Bradford Sinclair should never have fired. Gabriella warned me. This will get ugly. Bradford will come after you personally. Your reputation. Your credibility. Everything. She was right. Within days, anonymous sources claimed I'd stolen research from Helix, that I was mentally unstable, that I'd falsified patent applications. Hit pieces appeared in tech blogs questioning my credentials. One article particularly stung. Bitter former employee can't accept rejection. But for every attack, 10 people defended me. Former colleagues.
Colleagues.
Women in STEM who'd faced similar betrayals. The narrative wasn't as easy to control as Bradford thought. And the patents didn't lie. Every filing was dated. Every approval is legitimate. Every claim is ironclad. His lawyers had nothing. Just noise. 3 weeks into the lawsuit, Bradford's board forced him to settle. The company couldn't survive the uncertainty. Stock price had fallen 40%. Major customers were jumping ship. The settlement, $50 million cash, 20% royalties on all quantum processors, public acknowledgement that my patents were foundational to Helix's technology, and, my favorite part, a formal apology from Bradford. The apology was delivered via press release, written by lawyers, devoid of sincerity. But it existed, permanently in public record. Helix Technologies acknowledges Dr. Simone Cross's significant contributions to quantum computing technology and regrets the circumstances of her departure. Regrets. Such a corporate word for, we destroyed her career and tried to steal her work. The financial settlement meant Apex was now fully funded. No more scraping by. No more maxed-out credit cards. We had $125 million in the bank and the fastest-growing quantum computing company in the world. 6 months after the settlement, Apex was dominating. We'd shipped 5,000 processors. Revenue hit $500 million. Valuation, $2.1 billion. That number haunted Bradford. $2.1 billion. The company I'd built from nothing was worth more than his entire quantum division. He tried to compete, released an improved version of his processor, slashed prices, launched an aggressive marketing campaign. It didn't matter. We were already too far ahead. Better technology, better pricing, better reputation. Helix's quantum division became a liability. Quarterly losses, failed projections, investor fury. At their annual shareholder meeting, Bradford faced a revolt. Someone asked the question everyone was thinking. Why did you fire the scientist who owned the patents your entire division depends on? His answer, captured on video, shared millions of times, was painful to watch. We made strategic decisions that, in retrospect, should have been handled differently. A translation, I screwed up massively and destroyed billions in shareholder value. The final blow came from an unexpected source, Helena Vance, my old mentor. The CEO, who'd helped me protect my patents before Bradford pushed her out. She published an essay in Tech Weekly titled, The Cost of Arrogance: How Bradford Sinclair Destroyed Helix. The piece detailed everything: his toxic culture, his pattern of stealing credit, his history of pushing out talented people who threatened his ego. She named names, told stories, burned bridges she'd been waiting years to burn. The money quote: Bradford Sinclair fired Simone Cross because she was smarter than him. He stole her work because he couldn't create his own. And now he's paying the price for confusing authority with competence. It went viral. Millions of views. Thousands of shares. Helix's stock dropped another 15%. Board members started resigning. Calls for Bradford's removal intensified. I called Helena. Thank you. I should have spoken up sooner. I let him bully me into silence when he took over as CEO. I won't make that mistake again. Neither will I. 1 year after my firing, Bradford resigned. Not gracefully, not by choice, but because his board gave him an ultimatum: resign or be fired. He chose to resign, kept his golden parachute, walked away with millions despite running Helix's quantum division into the ground. That's corporate America for you. His farewell email was predictably self-serving. After careful consideration, I've decided to pursue new opportunities. I'm proud of what we've built at Helix. What we've built. Like he'd done anything beyond steal and destroy. The new CEO, brought in to clean up Bradford's mess, called me within 24 hours. Dr. Cross? I'm Miranda Okafor. I'd like to discuss a partnership between Helix and Apex. A partnership? I couldn't hide my skepticism. We need your technology. You need our distribution network. We could both benefit. And she paused. I'd like to start by apologizing for what Bradford did to you. An actual apology. From someone with authority. It felt strange. Let me think about it. I consulted my team. Yuki was against it. Why help them after everything? Malcolm saw an opportunity. Their distribution network would be 10x our reach. Gabriella was pragmatic. Negotiate from strength. Make them work for it. That night, I sat with Zoe. She was 13 now, old enough to understand business, betrayal, forgiveness. What do you think I should do, kiddo? Do you trust them? Not Bradford. But he's gone. Then it's not about them. It's about what you want to build. She looked at me seriously. You didn't start Apex to destroy Helix. You started it to build something better. Right? My daughter was wiser than I'd realized. Right. So build something better. If they can help, let them. If they can't, don't. Simple.
Perfect. True.
I negotiated with Miranda for 3 weeks. The final deal: Apex would license technology to Helix. Helix would manufacture and distribute our processors globally. Revenue split, 60-40 in Apex's favor. Plus one non-negotiable term: Bradford could never return to any company using Apex technology. Ever. Miranda agreed immediately. He burned too many bridges. No one wants him back. The partnership launched to fanfare. Former rivals unite to dominate quantum computing. The woman who beat Bradford Sinclair now works with his former company. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. Within 6 months, Apex processors were in 30 countries. Revenue hit $1.2 billion. We were profitable, growing, winning. And I'd done it without destroying anyone unnecessarily. Just by being better, smarter, more persistent. 2 years after my firing, I ran into Bradford at a tech conference. He looked older, tired. The swagger was gone. He tried to walk past without acknowledging me. I stopped him. Bradford. He turned, clearly uncomfortable. Simone. Congratulations on your success. Thank you. I hear you're consulting now.
Yes.
Helping startups with strategy. A bitter smile. Turns out getting fired humbles you. Does it? He met my eyes. I was wrong. About you. About everything. I let ego destroy something great. He paused. For what it's worth, I am sorry. It wasn't worth much. But it was something. I appreciate that. But the person you owe the biggest apology to is yourself. You had everything and you threw it away because you couldn't handle someone being smarter than you. He nodded slowly. You're right. I did. We stood there awkwardly. Then he walked away. I watched him disappear into the crowd, a cautionary tale in an expensive suit. 3 years after founding Apex, we went public. IPO price, $45 per share. Market cap, $3.2 billion. I owned 40% of the company. On paper, I was worth $1.28 billion. From fired scientist to billionaire in 3 years. The media loved the narrative. I used the platform to advocate for better treatment of women in STEM, started a foundation funding female scientists' research, spoke at universities about intellectual property rights. The woman Bradford had tried to silence became the loudest voice in the industry. Helix, meanwhile, stabilized under Miranda's leadership. They'd never regain their former glory, but they survived. The quantum division broke even. The company pivoted to other technologies. Bradford's legacy was failure. Mine was a transformation. Zoe graduated high school. During her valedictorian speech, she thanked me. My mom taught me that getting knocked down isn't failure. Staying down is. She got fired and built an empire. That's the kind of person I want to be. I cried through the entire speech. After graduation, she asked about her future. Should I go into science like you? Only if you love it. Don't do it because of me. Do it because it sets your soul on fire. What if I fail? Then you fail. You get up. You try again. I smiled. Failure is just data. It tells you what doesn't work, so you can find what does. She enrolled at MIT the next fall. Same school I'd attended. Same passion for learning. Watching her walk across campus for the first time, I thought about everything that had led to this moment. The firing, the patents, the lawsuit, the company. If Bradford hadn't fired me, I'd still be working 80-hour weeks, making him rich. I'd never have built Apex. Never have I proven my worth. His cruelty freed me. His arrogance empowered me. 5 years after my firing, tech journalists asked me to reflect on the whole saga. Do you regret how things happened? I regret that it was necessary. I regret that Bradford couldn't see beyond his ego. I regret the stress, the uncertainty, the pain. I paused. But I don't regret fighting back. What would you tell other scientists facing similar situations? Document everything. Know your rights. Protect your intellectual property. And never let anyone convince you that you're disposable. And if you could talk to Bradford now, I'd tell him thank you. He taught me that being underestimated is a strategic advantage. People don't see you coming until you've already won. The article ran with a headline, "The Scientist Who Turned Betrayal into Billions." It wasn't about the money, though. It never was. It was about refusing to be erased. About fighting for what I'd built. About showing my daughter that brilliance doesn't require permission from men who fear it. Today, Apex Quantum Solutions employs 2,000 people. Our processors power everything from financial systems to weather prediction to medical research. We're developing quantum encryption that will revolutionize cybersecurity.
I'm not just a CEO.
I'm a scientist who still spends time in the lab, who mentors young researchers, who remembers what it feels like to be dismissed, underestimated, and fired. Last month, a young engineer came to my office. Dr. Cross? I just wanted to say thank you. I was about to quit science because my advisor kept stealing my research. Your story made me fight back. I filed patents, protected my work, and now I'm here, working for you. I hugged her. You protected yourself. That's the first step to protecting others. She smiled. That's what you did.
Yeah.
I guess I did. Bradford Sinclair told me to pack my things. Fired me on the spot. Thought he'd won. But he forgot one thing. You can't kill an idea. You can't fire brilliance. You can't steal what someone truly owns. He tried to take my work. Instead, he freed me to build something that would eclipse everything he ever touched. $2.1 billion. That's what my disposable ideas were worth. The patent he thought he owned? It was never his. The scientist he fired? She built his biggest rival. And the revenge? It wasn't about destroying him. It was about building something so undeniably better that his failure became inevitable. Because sometimes, the best revenge isn't burning someone's empire down. It's building one that makes theirs irrelevant.
Pack your things, Bradford.
Your time is up. Mine is just beginning.